Okay, I'm here on Backyard Cigars with two individuals who are learning how to smoke and partaking of the smoke. Right now, we've got someone here who is torching up a cigar, and then we've got my uncle here who's got the same cigar I've got. We're both smoking a Martinez cigar, and he is a generation. He's the next legacy of my grandfather's children that is smoking cigars and starting to learn about them. And he's still young, so he's got a lot to learn, but he's loving it. And then we have my brother here who will smoke just about anything you hand him.
That's not true.
It doesn't matter if the tobacco is from Germany or Italy, he will smoke it. And if it is organic, then he will feel better about himself about it. But truthfully, we're all just trying to enjoy a great night out, a great day. My grandfather, his father, did a nice little interview with us earlier about his love of cigars and what he went through. And now we're the new generation, sort of picking up the hobby, the love of the leaf. And so tell me what you've been figuring from when you've been smoking cigars. Like how has that made you feel when you've been feeling in regards to smoking cigars? I mean, does it relax you? Is it something you just do because your dad did it for many years and you know a lot about it, you were exposed to it? I mean, what drew you to it specifically?
I do like the relaxation factor about it. To be honest, I had an idea that my father was a cigar smoker. I didn't know he was heavily into it. You brought that knowledge to me. I thank you for that. But I had no knowledge that he was deeply into cigars before I was born, per se. And I don't know if it's just something maybe that's like hereditary. It feels good though when I actually do. I like to drink cognac specifically or a nice whiskey that complements it. But it's very relaxing, and I do enjoy it. Specifically the medium ones. As Jose's teaching me, he explained a lot of things that didn't quite click to me before, and now that makes sense as far as like what you mentioned earlier with the punch cigars.
Yeah.
About how they have to be at a specific temperature, or if not, when you light them, they'll go out constantly.
Yeah, the overhumidification. And then that happens to a lot of people. They go to a cigar shop and the cigar shop doesn't regulate the humidity as well, and but we want to buy it, and we buy it sometimes. And the trick to it is sometimes you just let it sit in your zip bag, in your humidor, in your jar, and let it get back to that humidity. Or do something which they call dry boxing, which is when you take the cigar out and you just basically you're trying to get that tobacco to just for the overhumidification, just dry it out a little bit, and that way it's easier to smoke. You get a good draw on it, because ultimately, if you don't get a good draw on a cigar, I don't care how expensive it is or how who made it or whatever. If you can't draw on it, you're just not going to experience anything good from that cigar. You're Joey over here. You're smoking a cigar.com house blend. The American, and this is a budget brand they introduced. It's an American puro, whereas what we're smoking is mostly Dominican with some Nicaraguan in it. So we've got
this was more on the lighter side.
That is more on the lighter side.
Right away.
And I figured that would be more up your alley. You have one in your little packet as well. It's not a bad cigar. It's just a very mild cigar.
Definitely not a bad cigar at all. I prefer the back if anything. You can't get sick off of these. Sure.
Yeah, I mean, for like certain people that have a tendency to get sick or with you can come a little closer. Get a little sick with the higher strength ligero in some of the cigars that have that in the different lines that they might put out some ligero, whether it's Nicaraguan. Usually the Nicaraguan is you can get some potent ligero, and it'll be pretty strong. and some
Yeah.
people are sensitive to that. Even the Cuban brands will you can experience.
Even a simple,
Yeah.
even a simple basic Cuban can, if you smoke it the wrong way, it can make you sick. And you're just like, well, I thought this was the best cigar, but it's not that it's not the best cigar. It's the way you smoke it.
Yes. How you smoke the cigar will determine a lot in how what you're gonna get out of it. Because like I've mentioned many times before, if you smoke it like a joint, then you're gonna heat up the cherry and the
When you get
cherry
high,
is
you're gonna
gonna get,
activate all the nicotine.
and all those
and
oils.
leaf, and
Yeah.
then from there, you're just gonna have an uncomfortable feeling.
yes. It's gonna be bitter. Even if you don't get sick, you won't enjoy it as much. So DJ, you're an artist and you have an artistic side to you. And how do you integrate your cigar smoking, perhaps, or any other hobby with your artistic side? Does it help you relax when you're in the studio, when you're doing something different, and you just want to kind of get away from it all? Does it play a part in that?
It
We
does.
did yesterday.
We were downstairs. I was smoking a cigar while I was actually mixing music. What I like about it, opposing to smoking, weed,
yeah.
marijuana, weed. What I like it opposed to is, weed can, depending on the strand you smoke, you can either tie it down. and
Yeah.
It can take away from creative process, or certain strands can, it can enhance the creative
Yes.
process.
Yes.
This is the word I'm looking for. But opposed to cigars, it's more of a relaxation of thinking and action all in one motion as I'm actually doing mix downs or recording. And it's easier to actually record with opposed to smoking.
See that's a big thing because we're all so used to hearing about the rock and rollers and the artistic musicians that especially rappers that kind of just burn through ounces of weed and not that there's anything wrong with that, to each his own, but he's saying you can kind of do more with just a cigar and a little glass of cognac or whiskey and just kind of relax and hang out.
Your confidence boosts also while you're holding this. Honestly, it gives you a big confidence. You feel like a
Everyone
boss.
is different. I mean, it's I can have
You can have it either way.
joint, and then smoke a nice cigar, or smoke a cigar beforehand, and then the next joint.
And also, it's good for a
Top
celebratory
off
project.
that.
Once you accomplish the milestone, recording a full project or creating that song that you feel, it's a good celebratory process to have this with, your favorite cognac. But preferably, I'd prefer to smoke a cigar for that celebratory feeling after the fact.
That I feel exactly the same way you feel. Like the cigars, you celebrate with them, you relax with them, and they can be useful for so many different things. I mean, you can go fishing, and there's a cigar for every occasion.
Right.
I feel, and I think that as you go through your cigar journey and you move forward in it, you're gonna find that there will be different cigars that you will count on for certain occasions. And you'll find your own celebratory cigars or what you deem to be special. And then other cigars, right, that you could just smoke a mild cigar after a joint, in your case, whatever works for you. This is a new generation. It's a new way of doing things, a new way of looking at things.
I agree.
And and then people that might lean towards the purist side, like me, that perhaps don't indulge in other things. But you know what? It doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, if you are a cigar smoker and you're buying cigars and you're incorporating them into your life, then, that's good.
I agree. Wholeheartedly, I agree.
Definitely like a cigar every now and then, just to relax and or even just to celebrate.
Yeah, the celebration is definitely.
Celebration is like the number one thing to have is a cigar.
You think when you think of celebratory things that you might want to indulge in after completing a milestone, you think champagne, that's the cigar right after.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those are the two
I
things
would agree
that come
with
to
that.
mind.
For me, it would be a whiskey and a champagne, or a whiskey as opposed to champagne. But
Oh,
I get
right.
it. But I get it. The champagne would be the toast. I mean, the Winston Churchill style
Right.
of celebration. The European way of capping off a big deal or something, milestone or something like that you would accomplish. Now, what are you tasting from your cigar right now that you can tell? And notice you got some minor burn issues. I'm thinking they could correct themselves.
It will.
Sometimes they do.
I think it's a
No,
wind issue.
it's
been
a wind. It's very
It's
windy out
It's a windy
here.
day today.
Well, what are you tasting
I had
from
to
that?
I had to fix my own with that.
And you had yeah. I've had some burn issues.
I
with
like to
that.
burn it out itself because it naturally evens out.
So what are you tasting
nice
from that
little
that
head,
is
yeah.
that you're getting? What have you tasted so far?
I know it's a lighter cigar as far as like the look of it, but I am getting more of like a. How could I say this? I am getting more of like a darker cigar taste from it, which is good. Which is actually really really good. It feels more like a darker cigar taste, a more heavier side to it. Yeah, I
So
agree.
you're exactly right. Even though it is a claro wrapper, and it does have primary Dominican filler in it, it has Nicaraguan, I believe, if I'm correct, memory is certainly correct, and it'll still be in the notes. It has Nicaraguan, and it gives it a little extra punch. It's still a mild cigar, but it's full of flavor. And I think that extra flavor is what carries the weight of the cigar and really brings out some of the things.
I agree.
So what are you tasting from your cigar before we wrap this little session up? I want to get
Mine is
your
smooth. It's light. It's like your average cigar, and I actually really like it. It's not too heavy. It's not overpowering. It's not giving me a hard hit. It's actually really smooth, and it's burning very well now. Like
Well,
I had to fix it with a little
Yeah.
bit with the lighter, but even with the wind, it evened out on its own to a nice little head there, and eventually it'll fall off.
Yeah, I mean that's a nice budget cigar. It's all American. I mean you don't find that as often nowadays. Most of the tobacco and cigars are coming from the DR, Nicaragua, and Honduras, and then you've got a few small places that produce tobacco. But it's always interesting to have something like that. Any final thoughts on your newly formed cigar journey? What would you say is what you expect out of this cigar journey that you've embarked on?
What I expect is to be more knowledgeable on the types of cigar I am buying, just solely by myself. The ultimate goal is to, maybe 2-3 years down the line, know what I'm buying, and I'm having more confidence and more faith of the types of cigars I'm buying. So if I'm going, to a cigar shop that I know that, this particular is a Cuban and it's more lighter, and or this one is more of like a Nicaraguan cigar and it's more heavier. I'm trying to learn and distinctly, and differentiate the differences between each one. And I'm hoping that I'll also learn what you were telling me earlier about how to keep it in the right temperature in order for it to be
Humidity,
right.
yeah.
And I'm also trying to learn that as well. And I'm really interested in the journey of being a cigar enthusiast, keeping it there and knowing which ones I would want for what occasion might be up and coming.
But we're definitely cut from the same
Oh,
cloth.
yeah, absolutely.
We're definitely cut from the same cloth, and we definitely share the same interests. And you will learn that. And my brother here, he's want to just say goodbye to the folks at Backyard Cigars. And
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it, and this cigar is excellent here.
all right, thank you for watching Backyard Cigars. Till next time, this was a family edition.